What's up, you guys? So I just wanted to share homemade numerology that I made about 6 months ago. And I just thought that it was time to share it with the world so it could come to fruition. And I thought it would be fun and personal to be able to create my own homemade numerology, and maybe people can relate to it. So this is my Spirit of Flight book. It's just beautiful. So I did want to add in the number 0 because 0 is often looked over, and I thought it was important to add that number. And I did use this originally as like a platform for me to be able to do tarot readings for people when I was in prison. So yes, I did just recently get released from prison, but I'm doing good, I'm healthy, and here I am sharing my magic with you guys. And so yeah, I made these for tarot readings, and I wasn't able to get a tarot deck because I didn't have money for it. So I just used like a playing card deck. And I just, I actually did give people readings in there, and they loved it. And I really appreciated that they loved it, because it was definitely something that I struggled with, like wanting to reach outside of myself and do something that I adore and something that I am interested in. And when I just feel like that I have an insecurity, I kind of project that insecurity onto other people, thinking that they're projecting it onto me. And so, I still worked through that fear, and it turned out to be completely different than what I expected it to be. I wasn't sure if people thought that I was connecting with them when I was giving them their readings, and they loved it. That's all I can tell you, is they loved it. And yeah, so I have 0 through 10, because again, I was using a playing deck, and I didn't pull up the number 0 because there is no 0 in a playing deck. But I believe that I didn't have to even speak about the 0. It was like the foundation of all of the numbers, and it was like the root of the magic within the numbers. So it's like I didn't even need to speak about it, but I will be speaking about it now, and I'm really happy to be sharing this with you guys. And I also included the King card, the Queen card, the Jack card, and the Joker card. So here's what I'll do is I'll kind of name off the numbers and what I put in reference to the numbers, and then I will give you like a little bit of a reading, kind of, in a way, and you could take with it as you will. So 0 is the creation of a new world, new beginnings, and truth. I think the creation of the new world really resonated with me when I wrote this down, because 0, it's like you can hold something inside of a circle, or 0. And the world, it's obviously not round, but we are all living inside of a planet, right? So we are contained inside of something. So I thought the number 0 really resonated very well with the term creation of a new world. I believe that truth is a good one too, because the truth can have so much depth and meaning to it. So you could speak the truth, and people could just look at it as a simplified version, or you could look at it as a depthful version and just keep delving deeper and deeper into that truth. And it just, when I imagine the number 0 and then the connection with truth, I just imagine that you can really delve deep inside the zero. You know, you could just continuously go, go, go. It's like, you know, it's like a never-ending cycle. And yeah, so I'm gonna go to number one. One is self, personal journey or journeys, completion, wholeness, and separateness. And I wanted to really highlight on the fact right here how I put wholeness and separateness, and I put them right next to each other too. So, you know, number one, you can be whole, and that's just like, you feel complete within that wholeness. And it feels like, for example, like it feels like the task is completed, right? So that's like, okay, I got that one task completed, on to the next. That's just kind of an example. I mean, I could go deeper, but right now I'm kind of having a little bit of brain farts, but that's okay. And then I put separateness because, you know, we are, like, not just as a society, not just as a world, but universally, we are whole. You know, we are whole. But with, like, everybody, everything, living, not living, whatever. I believe everything is living. Some people might not believe that things are living. Like, for example, like this earbud right here. It has life to it, you know? But the next person might not believe that. But, you know, within that wholeness of our coming togetherness, there is a separateness. You know, we are separate inside of that wholeness. And that's something so beautiful and so, how do I say? It's just something peaceful to hold on to know that, yes, you are a part of something whole, but you could still be separate within it. And that's okay, you know? And you can still be separate and you don't have to feel lonely. That's okay too. So number two, I put love, synchronicity, and never alone. I put synchronicity because, you know, when I was writing this, I was making it for myself and also for other people. I believe that, you know, like I believe that a lot of my belief systems are personal, but also like very connected with other people too. And so the word synchronicity, and for two, I put that word because in prison, actually the past like 8 years, I would say, but definitely in prison, I've had synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity. And it's just like, I would be thinking about one thing and I'd see it. Or, you know, I dream about something and I see it or feel it or whatever, you know, it can go so deep into it. But yeah, and I put two because, you know, people say that, or I put love for two. So people say that you can't love another person until you love yourself. But sometimes I think it can be the other way around too. You know, sometimes maybe that's how we learn to love ourselves, is by learning other people. And that's actually such a selfless and beautiful thing, you know? And I like the message never alone for number two. So, you know, I think it's a very positive message, and it's not just, oh, you're not alone in the moment, you're not alone here and there. It's never alone. You are never alone. No matter what you think, no matter what you feel, no matter what you believe, you are never alone. You do not have to go through anything alone. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. You don't have to go through it alone. Number three is driven forward, going the extra mile, or taking another step in the right direction. I chose this for number three because I imagine a person having 3 legs, right? So you could have your 2 legs, you're walking a path, and you know, you will get to the destination. But if you add a third leg, imagine where it could take you. Like, and this is just a metaphor, right? But if you added a third leg, you could metaphorically go to other worlds and other dimensions and other beliefs and things that haven't even come to fruition yet that we wouldn't even, realize. Like, we don't realize that, well, some of us do, some of us don't, but I believe some of us don't realize that it doesn't just stop here. There's a wall here. You're like, okay, I've met that wall. This is all there is. Everything that I've ever wanted has happened. I've experienced all the magic and most beauty in my life. But imagine if you are at that fullest, you could still go through that wall and past it. And you would come across things that you would never even imagine you came across. And I think that's so beautiful. So that's why I put driven forward and going the extra mile or taking another step in the right direction. Number 4 is protection, endless possibilities, and new ideas. The reason why I put protection for number 4 is because I have these palm lines on my hands. I could draw it really quick. 1 second. They're pretty simple looking, but they're on both of my hands. And they mean truth and protection in the Fae culture and the Romanical Gypsy culture. Just looks like that. And so if you look though, it's 4 lines connecting. So that's why I put that for truth or for protection, because there's 4 lines, the number 4, protection. And let's see, endless possibilities and new ideas, also for number 4. So that kind of is a step after number 3 that I was talking about. I was talking about how you could go past or through that wall. And it's talking about new ideas for number 4, which is a step after number 3. 5 is shadow work, magic, and astral travel. Now, before I became enlightened on my spirituality, I became enlightened when I was 18. I am 26 now. And I was very closed off. Not by choice, I just didn't recognize it. And there is one thing though that I remember while I was closed off. I do remember that the number 5, I always thought it was a magical number or a witchcraft number or however you want to term it. And so I put 5 for shadow work, magic, and astral travel. And, that one's really personal for me. I used to astral travel a lot. Growing up, my house was actually haunted, and I used to astral travel to other realms, or sometimes I would have sleep paralysis. And so, those were negative experiences for me, not gonna lie, but I'm using this number to change it into something beautiful. And, I chose shadow work because, the number 5 scared me. I don't know why, but it scared me. It had a fear, an elemental fear attached to it. And, so I thought, well, if I got in touch with my shadow side, which I did and I am, and if I delve into that, which I still am delving into it, I'm in the process, and I probably forever will be, which is okay. I actually am no longer afraid of that side of me. I thought that if I delved into that, I would maybe be able to understand the number 5 more, and maybe it would be able to understand me more too, and we could have this connection in a relationship. Number 6, I chose 6 for chances, rolling the dice, thrill, and beauty within the pain. I really like the chances part right here and the beauty within the pain part, because a lot of people, I believe, are afraid of the number 6. You think of 6 and they probably, whether they consciously or do not consciously realize it, I believe their subconscious believes that the number 6 is always going to be connected to 666. Not for everybody, but a lot of people have that belief. And they are afraid of it. So I thought that, you know, if you take a chance and, you know, look past that number and look at the other side of it. You know, the grass is always greener on the other side. And then you will find that, yes, there was a lot of pain, but there was beauty within it too. So you take that chance, you roll the dice, and you figure out whatever happened in your life, you figure that out. And once you do, you will figure out, yes, there was a lot of pain and there still will be pain. And you might even be going through it now, but you could still find the beauty within it. And there's a thrill to that. There's a thrill to that. And that is why I added the word thrill also. Number 7, tapping into metaphysical energy. I like metaphysical energy for this because, you know, a lot of people say number 7 is the number for the gates to heaven. And, you know, it doesn't just have to be heaven. It can be anything. It can even be hell. And hell doesn't have to be angry, sad, scary, you know, all these things that people look at it as. Hell can be beautiful too, just as heaven can be scary and ugly too. And so I just thought it was cool to, like, you know, people look at 7 as the gates of heaven, but I thought it would be cool to kind of like add an extra element to the gates of heaven. Like, hey, you know, maybe you will find the gates of heaven, but maybe you might see another path. And you're like, oh, what is this? Like, I'm in, you know, I'm in outer space or whatever. I'm in the heavens, I'm in the clouds, and I'm seeing a different path. And it looks beautiful too. And I'm curious about that one just as much as I am curious about this one. So it's okay. You can choose either or. It doesn't matter. I also put luck, fortune, and karma for number 7, and stepping and or rising above staleness. So that's a big one, you know, like you could use the number 7 to make a case of stair steps, right? 7, 7, 7, 7, just like, you know, make a case of stair steps. And so like you put those 7s together, even just one 7, you can use it to step on top of it and rise above that stale energy that you have residing in your life that's just been sitting there and you don't know what to do with it. All you have to do is just imagine the number 7 in your mind and you're stepping on it like a stepping stool. You're like, hey, I'm rising above this staleness. It's kind of simple for me. I wish there was something more I could do, but I know that this simplicity is going to equal deep measures. I'm going to get profound results. So just keep that in mind. 8 is the never-ending cycle of the wonders and changing the course of life finally. The reason why I put the never-ending cycle of the wonders is because, you know, 8 is basically 2 zeros put together. So a 0, like I said, is like a beginning of a new world. So you could, that's like, you know, here's a world right here. You add another world, it's like the beginning, it's like the never-ending cycle of the wonders. You see what I'm saying? Changing the course of life finally, 8. I think that's a big one too, because 8 can also be looked at as the infinity symbol. And sometimes, I know for me, sometimes I would look at the infinity symbol as like you being stuck in a loop. And I changed my mindset. And when I changed my mindset, I was able to piece things together like this. Not just my homemade numerology, but many things. And when I pieced this together, I was able to like look at that loop that I couldn't get out of and that I was stuck in. I was able to say, hey, it's not just a loop that I'm stuck in, but it's a loop that I could use to change the course of my life. I don't have to be stuck. I can change that course of my life. The number 9 is overcoming depressive, oppressive, or suppressive powers, mixing the good with the bad and changing the misunderstood to understood. This one really resonated with me. So I was also scared of the number 9, but I wasn't scared of it until I was like 18, and I delved into my past, and I knew I grew up in a Freemasonic family, and I was put into an organization called Job's Daughters when I was younger, and it is a family branch off of the Freemasons. And, I didn't really think much of it until I became 18, and I learned more about what I was actually involved in. And it is something that is dark, and it's occult, and it's very secretive, and it's, if the average bear isn't involved or educated about it, they wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. But I understand what I'm talking about because I've experienced it and lived it myself. So the number 9 does symbolize the Freemasons, to me at least, because when I would go to my meetings at the Scottish Rite Temple for my Job's Daughter meetings, right next door to our room, we had the Freemason room, and I could hear them having a meeting, and they would knock with their gavel on, I don't know what it would be called that they knocked on, but they, knocked their gavel. They knocked it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't exactly know what they knocked it for. Probably like if somebody was agreeing with some type of order that they were trying to, if somebody was agreeing with some type of order that they were trying to pass or whatever, then that's probably what it symbolizes for. And, being involved in something like that, I learned that, the Freemasons did depress me, oppress me, and suppress me. They made me, I couldn't understand the good and the bad together. It was always separate. And that's that's a hard concept for me. Maybe somebody else could live with that, but that was hard for me to have to live with, not being able to understand two separate entities, such as the good and the bad, as a whole entity. And now that I do understand it as a whole entity, that is why I created number 9 as, mixing the good with the bad and changing the misunderstood to understood, because we need both. We need a balance. We need the good and the bad. And it's okay to accept that. Doesn't mean that you have to go and, act on it, but you do with it as you will. 10 is higher evolution of self and life within and without. So when I say within and without, I mean on the inside of yourself and on the outside of yourself. So you are evolving yourself and your life around you. You're evolving yourself and your life within you. We have a life outside of us, but we also have a world that lives inside of us too. And we are the creators of our own world. And also growth of memory, I put here for 10 too. And you work on these numbers and your memory will start to grow. Not of, missing memories of childhood or whatever. Maybe that is an issue, maybe you do have some things that you need to remember from this, there, and that, but also memory of the past, past lives, the present, and the future. We do have memory of the future because we've already been there. I don't know how, but I do know that we have already been there. The King card. Grounded within priorities, self-assurance, and confidence. I chose the King card, or I chose grounded within priorities as the King card because, that is what a king would symbolize. He would be grounded within himself and his priorities in his life. He would have self-assurance and he wouldn't need to get it from anybody else. And confidence, that is where you start. If you are looking to get grounded within your priorities and build your self-assurance, start with your confidence. All you have to do, even if you don't believe, tell yourself positive affirmations every day. Look in the mirror and say, I am loved. I am a beautiful person. I am kind. Whatever you want to say, just as long as it's positive. And you may not believe it at first, but continue to say it every day, and you will start to retrain your brain, and your brain will start to believe it. And I'm not speaking out of my ass. I know this because I actually was taught this from my counselor when I was in rehab, when I was a juvenile. And so I practiced it, and they told me about it, and I was like, oh my God, that sounds like a bunch of hogwash, right? It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to stand in the mirror and tell myself I'm beautiful every day. But I did. And now I am who I am today because of that. And I am very grateful for that. So just work on that within yourself. You know, if you really want to evolve and get to higher places in life, just start with yourself. Start with self-love. Even if it's a grain of salt of self-love. Okay, I know I've been going on for like 25 minutes here. I'm almost done. So the Queen card is independent, leveling up in life, and gifted. Now, I put independence because I don't think it's a thing as much these days as it was maybe a couple years ago. I think it's gotten a lot stronger, but you know, it is still a thing how people like look at females as they should rely on somebody else, especially a male partner. And I think it's important that we find our independence within ourselves. You know, not just claim that we're independent and do nothing about it, but actually like work on that as if you were working on it like a workbook on yourself. Leveling up in life, you know, you find that independence, you will level up. You will level up you will glow up, level up, grow up, however you want to say it, girl. However you want to say it, don't matter. You gonna get there. And you will find that you've been gifted this whole time, that you're gonna stay gifted, and that you're always gonna be gifted. And for the Jack card, I think for this one, so I chose struggles to overcome or have already overcame. I think I chose that for this one because, you know, people say Jack of all trades. Well, how do you get there to be a Jack of all trades? You have to overcome those struggles in order to become that master of your own life. So pay attention to what you need to master. And if it feels like a lot, then just do one thing at a time. And you don't even have to put a lot of energy into it. You could do one thing at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, 1 second at a time. And then the last card is the Joker card. And I chose moving through the game and atmosphere effortlessly, grand blessings, and intuition. And you know, I put moving through the game and atmosphere effortlessly for the Joker card because a lot of people say that life is a joke, right? So if you take that joke, move with it, flow through that joke, you know, life's a joke, then flow through that river of life is a joke. You see what I'm saying? So once you flow through that, you will be able to move through the atmosphere effortlessly, free. You will be free, or the game, whatever you want to call it. You know, some of us got these aspects where we're spiritual. Some of us got these aspects where we're like OG gangsters, you know, however you want to term it, or even other aspects, you know, just some of us are just simple human beings. But know that whatever aspect it is that you are looking at, you can take that joke of life and you can move through it effortlessly. Life doesn't always have to be a joke. And hey, if life's a joke, laugh at it. You don't have to like let it shit on you, laugh at it. I put grand blessings and intuition because I just think if you follow your intuition, listen to your heart instead of constantly listening to everybody else around you that are trying to put their opinions onto you that you truly don't feel connect, you will be getting grand blessings from yourself, not from the universe, not from somebody else, but you will receive grand blessings from yourself because you are becoming in tune with who you are. And you, by doing that, you are rewarding yourself, and then yourself is rewarding yourself back in return. That is like a huge way to practice self-love right there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm actually really happy that I made this video. I was nervous. Still have a little bit of anxiety, but that's something that I'm working through. We're all working through things in life. And, you know, it's better to work through it than not do it because you're living out of fear. I would rather be afraid and do something than not do it because I let the fear cripple me. So, my message to you guys today is love yourself, love others, and protect yourself. Bye.